I wasn't going to record anything tonight. I wasn't going to record anything for a while. And much less, I didn't want to record anything on my own time about MMA. Which, when I was doing If I Did It, that was my own time, but still, that was something that was like my half hour to commit to doing that per week. And I didn't want to feel like I needed to talk about it on things that I was producing for myself, for my own content. But unfortunately, with the turn of events that has happened tonight, I'm feeling the need to make this post to explain a few things. And also to tell you what's going in the future, what's coming with the future with me and the content that I'm producing. I was gonna do a blog post about it, but then I said, fuck it. Let me just record this. Let me give you the benefit of hearing my voice. And yeah, so here we are. I want to touch on a couple things tonight, and I'm hoping I can be as articulate with them as possible because I said I wasn't quite planning on recording this, and I'm just spewing word flow out of my mouth. But I really want to address that. I don't know, and I'm starting to wonder over the last, I want to say, month and a half, if that if there's a problem with people who are interested in MMA or the MMA community. I have noticed an increase in a lot of negativity, negative responses, negativity towards each other, negativity towards people who are covering MMA. And it's been kind of unpleasant and unfair and just makes it something that, doesn't make it much fun for people to want to do anymore. I don't know, and I've been questioning, is it because does MMA attract assholes? I mean, maybe I just need to accept that MMA attracts assholes. And I could say, well, what does that make me? Because I know I certainly am not an asshole. And then the next thing I wonder is, well, maybe it's not MMA that attracts assholes. Maybe it's just the UFC that attracts assholes. And then I really thought about that, and I was like, but you know what? That's all we talk about, at least in my circles, all the time. We talk about Bellator and Ryzen on the odd occasion that there's some sort of freak fight or something kind of not quite normal going on, but we don't cover them as if they're legitimate organizations. And, we may not agree with their business practices, and we may not agree with the way that the matchmaking is, but you know what? They are legitimate fight organizations that should get more coverage. And everybody has a few skeletons in their closet, but I really feel that right now with the business practices that are going on with the UFC, that negativity might be just spreading, throughout the community. For those who are very vocal about being for the questionable business practices of the UFC, and for those of who are, talking about them and trying to address them and trying to bring attention to the issues that are going on there. I think as fight fans, we do a huge disservice to the community, to the fighters, and to the organizations when we spend most of our time focusing on what we don't like and not enough on what we do like or other things to be interested to. And I'm guilty of this as charged. I'm guilty. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else. I am guilty of this. I've spent 6 months in Thailand training, and I've been to so many Muay Thai fights, and I really, really enjoy Muay Thai. And when do I ever talk about Muay Thai? I mean, we can go into another whole story as to why Muay Thai is not as popular in the United States and is starting to become more popular. Why, it seems to be dominated by Asian fighters and English fighters and Australian fighters. But that's another topic of discussion for another time, which, I really wish there had been reason for that to come up for us to get into it. The only time, and I may have mentioned this already, it's the only time we ever talk about Bellator is when Bellator is doing something weird or Ryzen's doing something weird. We've spent most of our time in the last 6 months bitching about Conor McGregor and Greg Hardy and fighter pay and disrespect to ex-fighters in the UFC, and just not focusing on or giving any attention to other smaller organizations which are out there trying to provide content for us to enjoy. Again, that's not to say that there aren't some skeletons in other people's closets, but I don't hear as much conversation going on about Mick Rapist and calling Gina Carano a bitch and the things that happened with Cyborg and Greg Hardy and yada 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 yada. Now, I admit that I really got into MMA about 7 years ago, maybe 7, 8 years ago, and I'm not a casual, but maybe I'm guilty of being more interested in the old school MMA because I'm one of those people who's complained that ever since Reebok got involved and USADA got involved, MMA just doesn't seem as much fun. But I can't be the only one who's just think the last year's been just rather ugh. And this is not talking about whether there's been bad fights or good fights, because there have definitely been some, compelling, interesting, exciting fights out there. And that's not what I'm saying. But I'm wondering how much of what's going on with the fighting is being colored right now by what's going on the outside of the octagon, i.e., the rape allegations and domestic abuse, and once again, just being really disrespectful to your fighters, fighter pay, and all that nonsense. Um, I think we are. I think it's we need to be more responsible as people who are talking about combat sports of trying to give forum to the other sports that are the other organizations out there. And again, I'm guilty of this. I say I'm always going to talk about it, and I never have ever talked about it. But I just want to bring up this because I feel that things have been coming to a head, at least within my circle, my personal sphere of friends and whatnot, and it's just the negativity is just really bad, and it's a lot of bullshit, and it's directed to people who none of us who talk about MMA are weak-willed people or people who will shy from a fight or any of that stuff. I don't think we'd be interested in MMA or actually talking about MMA if we were weak-willed people who were going to shy away from a fight. But on the other hand, I don't think any of us want to sit there and deal with a load of bullshit that has been going our ways lately. And it's not just, again, within my inner sphere. I'm even talking about the stuff that you see the professionals dealing with lately, the hate that's been going on. It's tiring. It's tiring, and it makes it not fun. Uh, it doesn't mean that any of us are going to stop what we are doing, and we may go our own separate ways in order to provide that type of commentary to the public. But it does make you take a moment and reflect as to why the fuck are we doing this if it just seems so negative all the time. I spent a lot of the last couple weeks thinking about this, and I wanted to come into the new year with a different perspective, a different focus, and to be one of those people who's trying to come at it from a different angle, and by showing some more positive things or more interesting things that are not revolving around the same narrative that's going on with the negativity that's involved, that's surrounding the UFC, that maybe some people can learn something, might get other interests, and maybe help other organizations out by it, focusing some attention on them. That only helps all of us as fight fans, so that we don't get everything from just one place. And that's something that I want to try to do in the upcoming year. I know I just made a tweet saying that I wasn't going to talk about MMA anymore, and I'm going to leave it to Alexi to say what he wants to say on that topic, because that really is his show. But I'm just that's really what I was referring to, and not so much myself. Which leads me to talk about what the other thing I was going to talk about, which is starting this week. I am going to be regular on putting out content that I've been promising for the past 6 years, not 6 years, 6 months, and sometimes a year. So I will start streaming every Friday and Saturday night on Twitch, 8:30 Central Time on Fridays, and 8 o'clock on Central Time on Saturdays. I game and I talk bullshit when I'm doing Twitch. My Twitch stream is twitch.tv/mixtech if you want to join. You're just going to watch me probably having a beer occasionally, shooting the shit with some of my friends and gaming. But during that time, I tend to go into some personal stories and anecdotes once I start talking to people. And I really enjoy having conversations with people. I really enjoy the questions. I really enjoy things like that. And excuse me, my cat's talking right now. Also, the other thing that I'm announcing is that my Patreon is about to go up, and there is a reason why I have a tier on that Patreon that you need to pay for to see some of the content that I will be producing in the upcoming year. Some of you may know, and if you don't, you're going to know now. I am going to start training next week to compete in TBA in June and August, which is the Thai Boxing Association tournament. And it's at the end of June, and I start working with my trainer next month. And I thought it'd be really fun for me to do these weekly kind of vlogs where I'll take some video from the training sessions I've done with my trainer, and also some of the comments that he might have, or for you to see what I'm going through. And you can see how much weight I need to lose, or how much weight I'm losing, and how hard I'm training, and how I feel. Get really a background on what does it take in order to prepare for a tournament like this. It's very different. Training's kind of the same for jiu-jitsu, but this is different. Anybody who has trained in jiu-jitsu and trained in boxing or Muay Thai, I think they can attest to you that they're very different in how you approach them and how you train for them, which is why MMA is so much fun, because you got to combine the smarts and the training tactics of both. But I'm focusing on Muay Thai for the first part of the year. So I would really love it if you would come and support me by, yes, it's $15 a month in order to get those videos. But again, that's me trying to mitigate some of the toxicity that's going on. And also, it takes a lot of fucking time for me to sit there and put all the clips together and voiceovers and edit that shit. So I don't want to do it if I don't know anybody's really interested in watching the content. So that's going to be up. I'll have some more details about that on my webpage, which is mightbetasty.com. And obviously, if you're following me on Twitter, I'll make a little bit of announcements about that. But I'll do a link attached to this post. Join my Patreon. Come talk to me in Discord while I'm gaining. Come see weekly vlogs of me torturing myself just so I can try to fight in June and hold on a full-time job and try to provide, other little bit of content that I want to put out there for you throughout the upcoming year. Hopefully, I'll be doing some a small trip or two on some of the adventures I have, like cave diving or going to Mexico and doing some video and some educational shit there, which is what I enjoy doing. On a final note, I have made a lot of new friends and acquaintances in the last 5 months due to If I Did It, and I want to thank Alexi for giving me the opportunity, Alexi and Eugene for giving me the opportunity to have my voice heard on that show. I don't think there's enough women in the MMA world who are actually having a voice with their own opinions. It's different it's one thing when you're reporting, it's another thing when your expertise and opinions are being asked for. So I appreciate that. And for any quote unquote haters that are out there listening to this, I want to put another thought out there, which I kind of was trying to allude to, but as I said, I'm free-forming this when I was talking about the negativity online. You have people who are doing this for you on their own time, their free time, who are putting together content for you to enjoy. And everyone's allowed to criticize, but there's criticizing because something should be better, and there's criticizing just because you're a fucking asshole, and it's not even criticizing. There's causing trolling and trouble for the sake of trolling and trouble, and it's really pathetic when that's going on. It takes a lot of guts for somebody to, it takes a lot of guts and time and effort and commitment for someone to spend their free time trying to do something that they hope other people enjoy. And don't get me wrong, I'm not being some social justice warrior, weakling or whatever, because I will fucking fuck you up if you give me a reason to. But I also don't see, and I don't understand the value of people who have so little to do with their time that they get their jollies off of just causing problems. I don't get it. Like, go to the gym, go fuck your wife, go get a hobby. I don't know. Actually, if you like MMA so much, or you like combat sports so much, go do some jiu-jitsu, go do some Muay Thai. All of us would love to see the sport spread besides, armchair warriors. And, that's all I have to say about that. Anyways, I think I've said enough for tonight. I've put my 2 cents out there. I wasn't planning again on saying anything, but I thought it was important for me to kind of let you know what I'm up to in the next year, let you know how I'm feeling, And, just to kind of open up and let everybody know, because those of you who've known me longer than before I was into MMA know that I kind of retreated from the internet for a bit. I mean, I've always been on the internet, but I haven't been very out there where people can see me and putting my face out there or my voice out there. I've just been commenting on stuff, but not doing things on my own. Yeah, I've had a couple years where I've just been kind of on the down low. Sorry, guys, that shit's over. Anyways, thanks for listening. Leave a comment if you got one. And stay tuned because I promise you we've got some interesting things coming up. Thanks again.